Seebeck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Minister, you inherited the previous minister's letter from the Prime Minister. And in that letter, it says, with the support of the Minister of Public Safety, the Minister of Public Services and Procurement, and the Minister of International Trade, introduced legislation to eradicate forced labor from Canadian supply chains. That's from 2021. I asked the Minister of International Trade at committee in 2022 what's been accomplished. The answer was zero. You've seized absolutely zero goods made with forced labor from China. Now, contrast that with $3.62 billion seized by the United States. This is an abysmal failure by you, by your government, to crack down on forced labor, which has resulted in the ability of China to continue to use forced labor. You understand what forced labor is, right? They are abusing people, and these goods are coming into Canada untouched. What do you have to say to Uyghurs who are being used for forced labor about your complete and absolute catastrophic failure to do anything to stop these goods from coming into Canada?
Well, of course, this Parliament passed Bill S-211, which deals with it. The Minister of International Trade has carriage of the forced labor file. Canada intends to be a leader in this sector. And what I would say to you, Mr. Seebeck, is go back, talk to your House leader, end the filibuster.
No,
so that Canada
no, I'm sorry.
So,
the mandate letter says you're responsible for
should.
Introducing legislation. You're talking about a piece of legislation by a backbench MP, okay, who made an optional reporting requirement. This is your robust action to crack down on forced labor? That is an embarrassing answer. The United States has seized $3.62 billion worth of goods. They're making a difference. This country has seized nothing. And your answer is some backbench member's bill is your response to this very serious issue?
No, it's the law of Canada, and I dare you to talk to John McKay, who knows more about this issue than I dare say that you do, and about world practices, about his bill. I think that I would enjoy a debate between you, Mr. Seebeck, and John McKay.
I suspect you know very little about the bill, because here's what it does. It requires a new website to be created to track results of voluntary information. This is your robust action. Look, Minister, this is an embarrassment, and you stand here and try to defend it as even more of an embarrassment. The United States has an entities list where they have all of the companies that they know use forced labor, and those companies cannot ship goods into Canada. Does Canada have an entities list?
Canada intends to be a world leader on the issue of forced labor.
And the check's in the mail. This does nothing for Uyghurs suffering from forced labor.
You know what you need to do is you need to stop gaslighting Canadians.
By telling them you're gaslighting Canadians by pretending you've done something.
And my colleague,
you've done nothing. You've created a voluntary website.
We are working on the issue of forced labor, and we intend to respect our commitment. But here we walk into Parliament every day to hear you talking against your own motion. This is ridiculous. It's absurd. Canadians expect that we act on issues with respect to labor in Canada.
Where's the bill?
With respect to seniors in Canada.
If Parliament's obstructing, where's the bill?
We expect
no
that the Conservative Party of Canada
You've got no bill tabled on this.
Gaslighting the people of Canada with your phony, fake filibuster.
Order. Point of order.
Order. What is?
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to bring to my attention that he's yelling into the microphone. This really does impact our translators.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kuzma. Yes, I will. The member has the right to question as he chooses, but please respect the translation services. Mr. Seebeck, you have an hour. You have a minute and 10
like
seconds. An hour. We don't have that much time.
Minister, you have not tabled a bill. The Minister of Labour or the Minister of International Trade, your government, has not tabled a bill. Canadians have no idea if they're purchasing goods made with forced labor. The United States has an entities list. You could copy that list and cut down on the number of products made with forced labor in this country in a second. You haven't done it. The standard in the United States is companies have to prove their goods are not made with forced labor, okay? That makes it very difficult for those things to come in. Your government set the standard in Canada that CBSA has to prove the goods were made with forced labor, which is why nothing gets seized. Why would you set the threshold so impossible for goods to be seized, so forced labor ends up in our supply chains?
Well, as you know, this government has consulted heavily, already passed a bill, and
It's not a government bill. That's not true.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's the law of Canada now, Mr. CPAC.
That
I don't know.
has a website created.
I don't know if you're aware, but we have this law. It's S211. The government is continuing to work on enhancements and improvements to that. But your party
Tough action that Uyghurs will appreciate.
Stands up every day and filibusters
But there's
Parliament
no bill
so that
that you're
we cannot
talking
get.
about.
It's very hard
There's
to
no
take.
bill.
It's very hard to take you seriously when you won't allow the government to present bills that Canadians are asking for.
You don't have a bill on this.
Thank
You're
you,
just,
Mr.
it's all
Seaback.
theater.
Mr.